We're here in the GSN newsroom with Aidan Mills, the CEO of Northstar Clean Technologies, which trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the symbol ROOF, and in the US under the symbol ROOF. Welcome, Aidan.
Thanks very much, Guy. Great to see you.
Likewise. Aidan, can you start out by giving me a bird's eye view of Northstar Technology? What are your business objectives?
Our mission is to essentially be the leading asphalt shingle repurposing company in North America. And what we do is we take asphalt shingle tiles and we split those up into their individual component parts and avoid them going to landfill. And ultimately, out the back end of our facility comes specification fibre, specification sand, and or aggregate, and specification asphalt. So that's the process, and that's exactly what we want to do. And we want to roll this out all across North America and solve the huge problem of asphalt shingle tiles going into landfill.
How big is the asphalt shingle market? How dominant are asphalt shingles in the roofing business?
Approximately 85% of North America's roofs that are being roofed today are being roofed with asphalt shingles because it's the longest lasting, it's the lightest, it's the cheapest kind of form of roofing that there is.
So I saw I think February 17th press release that you have initiated steady state production at your facility. What is steady state production? Why is that an important milestone?
The key thing about steady state operation is that you're running the units every day, day over day for 5 to 6 hours a day, and you're really understanding what the operation looks like. Because to improve the operation, you need to keep on running it. You can't do that by just commissioning units, and so that's one thing. And the second thing is it's really important from a quality perspective that you're producing specification products at the back end. And we are doing that. So we have done third-party testing, independent lab testing, as well as we talked about earlier, our customers doing sampling and testing. But we've sent our samples to third-party lab, and we have the results back, and we are absolutely on spec. So coming out the back end of the plant is exactly what it is designed to do. So to me, steady-state production is all about doing that repeatably. And doing it every day after day, and making sure the quality is in place. We now have quality testing at the plant as well, and so it's all about duration and it's all about quality.
And I think you've been CEO of Northstar for about 8 months. I looked at your CV. I see that you're a control engineer at British Petroleum, also a managing director at Goldman Sachs. So my understanding is you're this relatively rare hybrid of financial, operational, technical expertise. So I'd like to know more about you. How did you become? How did you back into this? Is
that... so yeah. I think actually when I look at what Northstar needs, and why the fit is, in my opinion, is really good, is kind of three things. So the first thing is I spent about 10 years with BP in operations and engineering, so control engineering, working at Sawmill Terminal, the biggest oil processing terminal in Europe, and so lots of so project management and project development, and also some maintenance and operation. Then came up to Canada to run Western Canadian Gas, trading on the natural gas side. So lots of negotiations around assets, offtake agreements, commercial agreements, etc. The first thing we have to do is make this plant work, and we're doing that. So that's great. Then we have to scale it up. But to scale it up, we need to think about, well, how do we finance that, but also how do we get customers all across North America? And that's all about the offtake agreements. It's about the supply in the front end, but more importantly for the asphalt at the back end, I mean, that's the highest value product we have. And so long-term offtake agreements is critical. So all of those three things I've got, good experience in. And look, as I left, as I came out of the oil business, I, along with other people, think that this industry needs to do things differently. And it's not to say that we need to switch off oil or switch off gas or stop
Mm,
driving cars or everything needs to go to EV. It's an energy transition. And energy transition is that's exactly what this is all about. We need
yeah.
to transition our energy from where we are today to where we are in the future. And we need to stop putting hydrocarbons into landfill.
For a technology company, government regulators usually are a risk factor. The possibility that your technology will be declined or stalled or regulated in such a way that it's not economic. My feeling about Northstar is that those risks have been almost inverted in that you are in a position to go to the government and say, you've made promises to your constituents, you've made promises on the global stage. We can help you keep those promises.
So one of the things that we did when I first started was we hired Wellington DuPont out of in Ottawa to help us with our government and public affairs and our engagement with governments at the federal level, at the provincial level, and at the municipal level. And that engagement has gone really, really well. And the story is pretty simple, which is I can come to your city and I can help you divert 40,000 tons a year of asphalt shingles from landfill to my process. By the way, we believe this is completely commercial. We don't need you to give us government, you know, funding. In our kind of high level model, we think the EBITDA of one of these facilities is kind of in the $4 to $5 million range, and it's going to employ,
Mm.
between 10 to 15 people. So you're going to get tax revenue. You're going to be able to divert 40,000 tons of shingles, and we're going to employ between 10 to 15 people at every facility. So the conversation, as no doubt you can imagine, is not that difficult.
So it seems to me that Northstar would be a very good candidate for an ethical fund. As you know, that investment sector is exploding. I think it's valued at 120 billion in 2021. What strategies do you have for attracting some of those investment dollars?
We've had great levels of conversation with some of the US infrastructure funds. So the only issue for the funds is these plants don't cost $500 million.
Yeah.
So there's sometimes a scale question, and so we're chatting to the funds about can they lean down to a first phase for us, but as we think about so let's then step back and think about building the first three plants, and let's say that's de-risked. So we de-risk the technology, we de-risk the EBITDA, we show how all of that works, and then we go for the next phase of 10 plants, for example. That's when the infrastructure funds have real appetite.
So you've got steady state production and you're now sending samples of product to a variety of end users in the construction industry and other industries. I'm interested about the other side of it, the product feeding in. I got one of my research assistants to phone around in Vancouver and talk to roofers. What I found is that indeed, they're ripping the asphalt shingles off the roof and they're taking it to the dump. I found that they have to pay for that. There's a significant cost. And also, interestingly, they're not happy about it. They don't feel good about it. Would they need to be incentivized? This is my question. How do you motivate an entire industry to turn left when they normally go to the dump and bring them to you?
So listen, we have kind of five elements to the strategy to do that. So number one is we need to have facilities that are close to the dump. So we don't need that turn left to be 100 kilometers out of the way. We want it to be like 5 kilometers or whatever. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we will commercially incentivize them. So you bring your discussion with the roofers in Vancouver, as they're bringing it to the Vancouver Metro dump, they're having to pay $100 a ton. So what we will do is we will discount that below $100 a ton. So we will incentivize them to turn left and make it cheaper for them to drop off with us than it is to drop off at the Vancouver facility. The third thing is and we will unload that in significantly faster than it will take them to queue at the dump and offload it. So we think we can have a truck offloaded within 15 minutes. So the fourth thing that we're doing, every facility literally has an area for a food truck. So we will give drivers free coffee to come to our site. The kind of fifth thing is a number of these companies want to engage and be more sustainable. So we will absolutely do that. And if they can hit sustainability targets, or we can hit sustainability targets together, we will further discount how much they have to pay.
I've really enjoyed learning more about Northstar. Thank you very much for your time today.
Great, Guy. Well, listen, nice to meet you. Thank you for the questions, and next time we'll hopefully be able to do it at the facility, and we can show you some real products coming out the back end of our process.
Perfect. Thank you very much.